Hey everybody, we're here today with the magnificent Chely Wright. I love you.
Oh, I love you too.
And it's
already.
awesome.
We have so many mutual friends.
I know, we do. And that's what this industry is all about. It's a tight circle. It really is. There's so many friends in this industry, and you can't speak to one without someone else sending their love. So, you know, and your music has just been, it's been amazing how it's brought so many people together. So,
well, thank you. Sometimes I think about, I've got fan club members who have been friends for a long time, fan club members.
Absolutely, yes.
I know it's weird to call them fans now, they feel like friends to me, but so many of them have made lifelong friendships because they used to come see me on the road or what have you. Some have gotten married and had babies, and so you're right.
And now they're bringing them, and
there's a lot of connectivity.
There really is.
This little town here.
It is. It really is. Well, we're glad to have you back in Nashville for a little visit.
Thank you.
So,
it's good to be back.
Awesome.
It always feels great to land at Nashville.
It does, doesn't it? It does.
Yeah.
The minute you hit that runway, you're like, okay, I'm home.
Yeah,
this is a part of me.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about your new project.
Great.
You've got a new CD out, and it's unlike anything that you've done before. So, talk about kind of what made you want to do it in the way that you did it.
Yeah, I Am the Rain is the current project, and it is, as you say, unlike anything I've done before. In terms of it being, so I made a bunch of commercial records, and then with Metropolitan Hotel, it was kind of more of a pointed effort to do more singer-songwriter stuff, and then Lifted Off the Ground was even, another step toward that. But this record, if those were steps toward it, this was a run toward a more artistic narrative piece, and it was a terrifying endeavor to work with Joe Henry because he commands and demands certain process with making records, and it's one that I needed. So I faced my fear, and fortunately, there's not a more lovely person to face one's fear with than Joe Henry.
Absolutely. We'll talk about a little bit about the songwriting process that went into it, on how you chose the songs, and how you decided what order you wanted to put them on the project.
Yeah, so whenever I think most artists who make records the way that I do, they probably have a similar story in that you kind of just write a bunch of songs, and then I have a folder on my computer. It literally is titled Big Old Pile of Songs.
I love it.
And so when I write a lot, even when I'm not planning on a record or making a record, that's kind of what you do. You just write songs and then put them in the folder. And then something happens that I describe as like an itch. It's a scent. It's some kind of unnamed aura that happens where you kind of go, okay, I think it's time to start thinking about a record. And it was 2014, in May of 2014, when it first occurred to me, I think I need to make a record. And I began to just kind of go back to that big old pile of songs and look through it. And after enough records under your belt, you start to identify, which songs belong together. And it's not that, oh, these are all happy, let's put all the happy songs together. Conversely so, it's if you look at a person's emotional arc, say in a day or a month, in a year, we all have a whole set of feelings that we go through, and you try to find songs that can plug into those sets of feelings, and it's kind of what we ended up with. And then when you decide to make a record, inevitably you write the last 3 songs that are going to make the record, and those things kind of happen with Joe Henry.
Sure, yeah. So when you go to that pile of songs, what if you're in a blue mood that day?
Yeah.
Is the CD going to end up being all blue, or is it? How many times do you revisit that? You know.
Well, I don't pull the songs out according to the feeling I'm in the day that I go to the pile.
Right.
I try to look at any human being. Save for the few days of a year that you're just all joy. Maybe you're falling in love, you got a promotion or what have you. And in the range of anyone's day, if you're a regular human being, you're just going to experience, you're going to have a moment of, see a picture on the news of that little Syrian boy.
There you go.
And that takes you to the song that you would plug pain into, a song on the record. And then you go out out and you go, oh my gosh, the sun feels incredible today. And that would plug you into a different song. So it's just a matter of kind of continually keeping an eye on what the human condition must be like to cast the songs for the record.
Right, right. So as you've been out, the album's been out for a little while. It's, you know, you're starting to get a little bit of feedback
10
on
days,
it.
I think.
Yeah, not very long,
Yeah.
but in our world, we've listened to it a little bit longer because we
Right.
get the advanced copies, you know. But
Right.
what kind of feedback are you getting from those that have heard it already, and you know, what are their feelings on it compared to some of the other stuff that you've done? Because they always want to compare everything to your
Right.
previous work.
And that's fair. I think it's fair to hold previous work as a benchmark, and that's certainly how you can measure growth or not growth.
Right.
But I think, you know, the most important assessment of my record is, number one, me. Number two, it would be my peers, meaning not other artists. I mean, that some artists I really value their opinion. Others, it's kind of benign what they think. But my peers, and when I mention, like, you know, Buddy Cannon, he produced some of my biggest hits, and he listened to the record and he just wrote to me again on Facebook and said, "I love this record." That means a lot to me.
Absolutely does.
And
yes.
then another resounding group of people that carry a lot of weight with me is my fan base. People who've been around for a long time. I think that by and large their feelings about this record are, it was unexpected. They had no idea it would be like this, but that they really like it. I'm sure there are fans that maybe don't like it, and I'm not hearing from them, and I appreciate that. Thank you. But again, if my last two records were a step toward the direction where I wanted to be,
Right.
this record, I Am the Rain, is a run, a canter toward something a little bit more artistic and narrative.
Absolutely. How has motherhood, I mean, you haven't put anything out for a while. You've
Yeah.
been being a mom and, you know, doing things a little bit off to the side.
Yeah.
How did that influence some of this?
You know, I don't think that being a mom has changed the way that the types of songs I write or my perspective musically, but it certainly has affected my process. Whereas I used to, you know, get up in the morning, have my coffee and start writing, I don't do that now. I play with magnet tiles and ABC books for 2 hours until our nanny arrives. And when she arrives, then I go back to my office and I start writing and doing what I do. And because I'm so obsessed with how cute my boys are, I put the guitar down about every 45 minutes and go out and make them kiss me.
Oh.
They're so, I mean, I'm obsessed with them.
And you should be.
I miss them in 45 minutes. I miss them. And sometimes when they go to sleep at night, my wife and I will go and, you know, do our routine, get back and get into bed and catch up on some news. And 9 times out of 10, I'll say, "Do you miss them yet?"
Aww.
And she's like, "No, we just put them to bed. I miss them.
I'm like, I need to go just check
I
on
gotta
them.
go kiss them, make sure they're
Aw.
breathing." But they are, you know, I feel like a person who, sorry, kick that table out of the way. I feel like if you have a balanced life, it can't help but bring something to, you know, what you're
I agree.
putting out. I
agree.
just can't identify it yet. You know, I've only been a mom for 3 years. I've been a wife for 5. You know, maybe in 10 years I'll be able to kind of Google map out and look at this music and kind of how it fits
Right.
in what I've done, and I might be able to say, "Oh, I see how that's different." But as of now, I don't think so.
Doesn't fit it yet.
It doesn't feel different.
We kind of briefly touched on it, but social media is such a huge part of what we do right now.
Yeah.
And obviously the fans feel like they can approach us a lot easier, and you know how they feel a lot more so than when it used to be that, you know, they had to have a meet and greet pass to come and
Sure.
see you.
Yeah,
How has that affected any of your songwriting or any of the kind of thoughts that you maybe put into this? Anything like that?
That's a good question. Certainly fans and non-fans are able to engage.
Absolutely, yes.
And one must kind of put that into the beaker to kind of swash it around and make an assessment of it. I don't think it's affected you know, what I wanted to put on my record, but I really like engaging with the public about politics, about global issues, about music and art and movies and comedy. But I have to say I'm very proud of, you know, even if someone's being nasty to me, I don't call names. I don't get nasty back. I try to use humor to maybe disarm
You're good at that. Yes, you are. You're very good at that.
Because it's all, you know, I assume that if that person who is being what I call a keyboard warrior, if they might be being nasty to me, I feel pretty sure that if they met me in public or on the sidewalk, they wouldn't say 100% of the things that they say on social media.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to say it when you're hiding behind a screen.
When you're an egg on Twitter.
Sure.
But on the flip side, having the chance to hear from fans who want to say something, you know, not pejorative, it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling to hear from people who may never get to see my show, and I may never get to meet them, but if they say, you know, the song Picket Fences means a lot to me, or thank you for coming out, you know, your story helped me, and I don't know that there's anything as wonderful as that.
Yeah. Now, yeah, again, kind of like with the whole social media, thinking outside the box and new ways of getting music to people and garnering new fans. Are you kind of thinking of things that you can do that nobody else has thought of yet?
Oh, I'm technologically challenged. When my wife and I met, she made me promise to not tell anyone I had an AOL account still.
That's so funny.
But, you know, I'll leave it to the tech people to figure out new ways to deliver music. But I do think it's important that we as artists who want to stay, you know, current and relevant, I think we have to kind of play along with Spotify, which I went to the Spotify offices there in New York about 6 weeks ago, and I finally got it. Like before, Spotify was just a really negative word to me. It was
right.
They're streaming my music and people are paying for it, and that's still, I don't like that. I'm not fully on board, but what I do see, there's a value in Spotify in that they know my listenership, my fan base's behaviors better than I do, and that's important for me to glean from their data and their information, and so I'm trying to, you know, I'll be 46 in October, so I'm trying to think like a 20-year-old in a lot of ways, and surround myself with people who see the value of those platforms, and I'm getting it. Yeah, I'm getting it.
Yeah, you can teach old dogs new tricks.
That's right. I'm the old dog learning a new trick.
You're not an old dog, but we could.
No, I mean, when you think in terms of, like, I got signed to a publishing deal and a record deal when I was 24.
Yeah.
Like 23? I think it was 23. You got to think like that.
Yeah.
And you got to still kind of.
Especially as quickly as this industry changes and things move so quickly. Yeah, exactly.
And music, if you're doing it right, you have to assume that there is a 19-year-old that your music can speak to. So it's, you know, I definitely want to keep my 45-year-old fans and my 60-year-old fans, but I'm trying to make music that isn't a reprint of my 90s records. You know, I'm trying to do something that matters now, and I have to assume I need to reach that 19-year-old kid. I gotta get my music to them, and they don't tune into terrestrial radio the way that we used to. So,
absolutely.
You know, I'm an old dog learning how to roll over again. I'll do it. Proud of it.
Well, let's go back to the new music. Is there a song on there that kind of right now is your favorite at the moment? I know it changes, you know, over time, but is there one right now that's kind of really just playing over and over in your head that you really like? You
know, now that the record is out there, it's always exciting to put a new record out because you get to hear which songs fans are really liking. Two that surprised me are Pain. It's it's the song Emmylou Harris is singing with me on. Pain, and a song called Helona, which is, you know, to me was just like a cool album cut, and it might remain just a cool album cut, but people are liking that. The Dylan cover that I did, Tomorrow Is a Long Time, seems to resonate with people. A song called You Are the River, which inspired the title, because the hook is You Are the River, I Am the Rain.
Right.
Folks are liking that one. And Mexico, this doesn't surprise me, the fact that folks like that, because it sort of is the connective tissue between my commercial music and this,
Right.
This current project. But I like them all.
She's like, I like all of them. Oh, I know when you're in the studio, it's kind of always whichever one you're really working on, because you go to home with it, it stays in your head, and you wake up with it.
But you always do kind of have a song, an idea of as to which songs are going to be the I guess the hallmarks of the record, and I look forward to this, this journey with the fans where I can see that there are sleepers. There are always sleepers on a record that resonate with folks. So that's where I am right now, and it's really fun. That's why I'm like scanning Twitter and Facebook and reading all of the comments to learn what folks are liking.
Has there been one that, as you were recording it, you had it in your mind how it was going to be perceived, and yet it's just kind of been blown out of the water? Anything like that you're like, wow?
There's a song called "Where Will You Be" that we did it live. I did a show there in New York City the week the record came out, and I wrote it 10 years ago, and in the middle of the song, when I delivered I think it was when I sang the hook of the chorus, the crowd erupted into applause, and that's unusual for a song that crowds hadn't heard before. But and I'm not sure if they heard something musically that grabbed them, but I have a feeling it was at the end of the chorus where kind of I pay it off with the hook that they liked, and that really felt good.
Sure does.
Yeah.
When you talk about live shows versus listening to something on a CD, is there a part of the show that you really enjoy the most when it's live?
I think Pain. I really enjoy that part of the show because it's on the record. It's I don't know, a 3.5-minute song, but on the live shows at the very end when we kind of play it out, we play it out really long, and all of the musicians take a ride and kind of show off a little bit. It's a perfect song to do that because it's kind of, there's a kind of a heartbeat cadence to it, and I honestly think we could play it for 10 minutes and it wouldn't be boring.
Yeah.
So to me, that's the highlight of the live show.
That's very cool. Well, is there anything that you want to maybe let the fans know about the music or anything before we wrap up?
Well, I hope that fans will listen to this record in the spirit of its intention, which was not a collection of 13 songs to maybe, I might hear that on the radio, but rather put your phone down, don't email, don't Netflix, put your phone down, put on your favorite headphones, and absorb it end to end. It's really meant to be absorbed as a narrative piece. I hope you'll enjoy it in that way, and I hope that you'll check my website for tour dates, because I as much as I like making records, I like touring. And if I can get you in a room for 90 minutes, and I can talk to you and tell you about this record and sing these songs to you, I think we can be friends forever.
Oh, I have no doubt in my mind about that. Well, it's always great talking to you.
Thanks, Deb.
Thank you for inviting me over. It's been great to chat with you again. And everybody go buy her record.
Oh yeah, buy the record. Listen to it on Spotify. That's one thing, but please, the artwork is beautiful. And,
it's gorgeous.
Melanie Ciccone did the artwork, and it was all meant to speak to a potential buyer, listener, to say that this is a lot of steps away from my old commercial self.
Absolutely.
And I'm really proud of this record. It's my 8th record, and wow, I can't believe it's been that long. Please buy it, please enjoy it, and please come find me on the road.
Oh, I'm sure they will. Thank you very much.
Thank you.